Hey everybody, Hellcracks here. Welcome to another episode of Mercenary Thoughts from the Inner Sphere, and today we're going to be talking about the Fireball. Yep, it's a little 20-ton mech. It's kind of interesting. I'm not sure exactly if I'm really happy about everything with it, but yeah, we'll just get into it. The Fireball is a 20-ton inner sphere mech. It's a ALM-7D, so this thing is a speedster. Doesn't come with jump jets. Well, and it only has 10 single heat sinks, but when you look at the weapons loadout, it doesn't need it. It doesn't need doubles at all. It comes in with 64 points of armor, which is like 5 points short of maximum. It does have Endo Steel and an XL engine, so that's how you get all that speed with it. So it's like, typically I always say I'm never a fan of an XL engine, but in this case, you know, it's like you put an XL engine on a light mech. It kind of makes sense because you can speed that thing up and hopefully use its speed as a form of armor, protecting it from getting hit. So I can really get behind using XLs because typically a light mech, if it gets hit and usually it gets hit a couple times, it's dead. So you might as well give it as much life support as possible. Alright, so a weapons loadout is a Streak 2 in the left torso with a ton of ammo, and it has a machine gun in the right torso with a ton of ammo. Why you would need a ton of ammo with a single machine gun is beyond me. I don't know. Personally, you could have probably gone with a half a ton and then use that half ton and put on more armor. But it's kind of interesting. Now, my experience with the Fireball is kind of limited. I've used it a couple times, but not to any great effect. It's like the weapons are not really what you'd call something that's going to attract a lot of attention. It's like I've been in a game where you're like flying along, and then next thing you know, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to hit you. It's like Streak 2, and they go, okay, yeah, you hit me with that 4 points of damage. Woo! That kind of thing. You're not even close enough to use the machine gun yet. So the firepower on this thing is only 6 at maximum. So basically, it's one of those mechs where if you hit with it, it's like, I'm hoping for a headshot or a random crit someplace. That's about it. And if there is a mech that happens to have some open armor someplace, you might get lucky and hit that spot and get a chance of critical. But that's about it. This is one of these mechs where you're not worrying about the amount of damage it's going to be dishing out, because it doesn't really dish anything out. You got almost more firepower with a single medium laser than you do with the Streak 2 and the machine gun. So, yeah, it's one of those ones where my limited use with it is that I'm trying to more or less use this as a scout or a eyes and ears for a fire support lance. So, you run this thing around, and it's like you get into the backfield where you got a mech that, is hiding back there. They have their fire support mech or something, or tank, and you go behind a hill, and it's like, I see you now because you couldn't stop me because I'm flying down the corner of the side of the board. And then I get in there, and it's like, okay, now I'm going to hit you, call in the LRMs from a distance and hit you and possibly do some damage and force you to move out of your position, possibly. That's pretty much it. It's one of those mechs where if I've seen it before on the table, and it's like it's come flying along, and it's like, do we even bother shooting at this thing, because the amount of damage it does is so insignificant that it's not really a threat in the damage department. It's more of a threat as, like I said, using it as an eyes and ears for something else. So, yeah, it's one of those mechs that, you're not worried too much. Now, the only thing I would have liked to see on a mech like this is some jump jets. I'm just curious if they could have dropped it down to a 715 or something like that, or not 7, but a 1015 moving mech, and then maybe drop the machine gun and put some jump jets on this thing. That might have made it a little bit better, but I'm not really sure. Another interesting thing is you could maximize the armor on this thing if you put on ferrofibrous armor. So if you had the standard weapons loadout and then turn around and say, hey, I'm going to put some, you got the crit slots open for a ferrofibrous armor. They could have gone that route too. Now, there are a few variants with this mech. There's the 8. See, this was the 7D we're just talking about. The 8D. Now, this one comes out in 3054. This mech removes the streak launcher for replacing it with 2 medium lasers. So, yeah, it's like getting rid of the streaks in favor of a couple medium lasers. I'm all for it because you got the same range. And you've gone from 4 damage up to 10 potential damage. I can get behind that wholeheartedly. Just plain and simple, it's just a logical progression, because then you have then they also took the half ton, that because it's 2.5 tons. Then they turned and added another half ton of armor on board and maxed it out to 69. So you got a little bit more armor on this. They take another hit possibly. And this is so now you got a mech running around with 2 medium lasers and a machine gun. Not bad. Personally, the machine gun can be handy if you're doing drive-by on some infantry or something, and give them a dose of machine gun fire. But personally, I rather it had a flamer instead. You know, you could have gotten rid of the machine gun and just gave it a flamer, and then gone with that extra. So if you got rid of the Streak 2 and the machine gun and replace it with 2 medium lasers and a flamer, so you can still take care of infantry, and then that you still got a ton left. If you got some advanced tech, you could have put on a like a C3 slave or something like that, and really turned it into something that can end his eyes and ears of the lance, possibly. That's a good option there. Now the 9D, this is a compromise between the 7 and the 8. This one removes the machine gun and the ammunition, replace it with a single medium laser, and retains the Streak 2 launcher, but gains another half ton of armor. So it's like you got one version doing the one thing and another version doing the other. So you have a medium laser and a Streak, so now your potential damage is now 9. Okay, so the 8D had 12, so it's a little bit different when it comes to the damage output, but you still have 2 weapon systems that can do some damage, just not a lot. Then you got the 10D version. This one uses extended range lasers instead of the standard version. It has mask on board to increase the speed of the mech, and it has heavy ferrofibrous armor, and the machine gun has a targeting period. Okay. Alright, targeting period. You think maybe it would have been better off something else? I don't know. That's kind of a weird version. And then there's some custom variants. This has you got one with a 320 XL engine mass supercharger, and this is the XF version, and has a pair of ER small lasers and a mere 3.5 tons of ferrofibrous armor protecting it, and it has an XL gyro. Yeah, it's like they said this used in illegal street racing. It's like mech street racing. Yeah, that's kind of that would be a very fast mech for indeed. You're looking at that's getting up there. It's got a lot of speed with it. But overall, the Fireball is one of those mechs that has some good potential with it. It's probably not a bad eyes and ears. But personally, the main drawback I can see with this is not having some XLs with it. But, you can get you got Locust running around doing the same job, but this one's faster than the Locust. So, it's a hit and miss in some aspects of it. And I think that if you changed out some of the weapons loadout to a couple medium lasers, and like I said, you could even put 3 medium lasers on this, and maybe some other equipment and some armor. Heck, you could have gone 3 medium lasers, a small laser, or the flamer. It's like I gave you some options with it if you got your hands on one of these things. All right. That's pretty much it when it comes to the Fireball. It's a pretty short, quick, and simple little mech. Not much about it. And I hope you guys like this one, and we will talk with you later. Hellcorrects out.